Hello and welcome to the Alpha Movement, where I will be discussing training, mindset and nutrition with experts from all over the world. This is a movement redefining what it means to be alpha. So this week on the show we have Liam Britton from liambritton.com, and it's a mindset extravaganza. We talk about using negative events as a fuel for success and why that's not always the best idea, his time with Tony Robbins, we talk about forgiveness and loads of other stuff. It's a great episode. So without further ado, here's Liam Britton. Right, hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Alpha Movement podcast. Today my guest is Liam Britton. So Liam, go ahead, say hi and give me a bit of a background about your story.
Hi Ron, my name's Liam. I call myself a connection coach. And let me just give you a little bit of a background about how this kind of all came about. So I used to be a personal trainer. I got into personal trainer like the usual teenage story, being skinny, got bullied at school, like I'm 6'5" and I somehow got bullied at school. I was a bit of an easy target. I wanted to, obviously being skinny and obviously being interested in girls, I started working out, which then led me down to the fitness route and ended up getting a job in a gym as a fitness instructor, which then, as I progressed, turned into a personal trainer. But then, probably, I don't want to make this podcast really down and gloomy, but the biggest thing that has happened to me in my life is when in 2008 I lost my dad to a motorcycle accident, which obviously completely changed my life. It was terrible for my family at the time, but completely changed my life and made me realise that you've only got one life, and you've got to do something with it. So my kind of entrepreneur switch went off in me, and I was like, okay, I'm going to make something of my life. So I went off as a freelance personal trainer. I did one-on-one for a while. Then I moved and opened a boot camp that massively failed, left myself burnt out, broke, had to go back into employment for a little while, but got myself out of debt. Then I went back as a personal trainer, but what I did this time was I set up doing what's called small group training. I heard it was really big in the US at the time, and I started doing this group training, and it developed from there into I don't know how it happened, just went really big very quickly. I had about 50-60 clients. I had it for about a year and a half, and then I decided to get my own fitness studio, and that is when I took on a business mentor, Simon Lovell, who absolutely took my business to an extraordinary level. When I met Simon, I was probably doing about 4 to 6k a month, but he took me to 15k in my first month, and then by month 3 with him I was doing 20-30k a month, and it was just financially it was tremendous. But at that time I still felt miserable. I wasn't happy with my life. I went through spats of depression, and I just couldn't work out why I felt so down all the time, even though my business was doing so well. And I just felt like there was something wrong with me. It was my relationships were suffering, and I just kind of didn't think anyone really understood me, if that makes sense. So I just really needed some help, because when I first started out in my business, I thought, look, I felt unhappy in my life, and I thought that, once I get my business to a certain level, then everything's going to be okay. But obviously I grew it to a tremendous level, far greater than I ever could imagine, doing £250,000 a year, and I still was miserable, probably more miserable than I was before I even opened the business. So I went off to Simon Lovell's, my mentor's mastermind in Thailand, and we spent about a week, 10 days in Thailand. It was incredible time, one of the best holidays I've had. And we were learning, obviously, and we went out on boats and we'd done stuff in the water, and it was just like it was absolutely awesome. Baby tigers, there's all sorts going on, I have always been interested in Tony Robbins and his teachings, and Simon, my mentor, was actually what's called a platinum partner, which is where for a year you basically pay a set fee. It's like $65,000. You fly around watching him speak, and obviously you learn and grow. And I thought that Tony was the guy to help me. Tony was the guy to help me understand why I feel so goddamn unhappy, even though I've got this tremendous business. So I was at the Thailand Mastermind, and I said to Simon that I wanted to do it in 12 months' time. That was the goal. I want to save enough money so I can do this thing in 12 months. But Simon, being Simon as usual, pushed me and egged me on to do it straight away. So I just had about enough money for the down payment, which was about, I don't know, 10 grand or something. Put that down, and then I had to make monthly installments. Anyway, I was in the Tony Robbins Platinum, and I was excited because I'm finally going to get some help. The first trip I took was to Canada for a financial event. Obviously, in my head, I was like, "Oh God, like I know how to make money right now. I need some help with other areas, but I'll go anyway." So I went off to Canada, and then I met an amazing man called Anil Gupta. If you want to check him out, I think he's anilinspires.com or something like that. But he's an amazing man. He really helps people become fulfilled and balanced and understand themselves better. And Simon introduced me to him. Luckily, he wasn't actually at the Tony Robbins event. He was actually at a completely different mastermind, but staying in the same hotel. And I got to meet Anil, and we had a 20-minute conversation which completely turned my life upside down. Obviously, when losing my dad in 2008, I hadn't dealt with it properly, and this is the real issue that was going on with me. I hadn't dealt with that. I'd blocked that, pushed that down emotionally, bottled it up, and I realised that I hadn't. Me and my dad's relationship at the end of his life wasn't as good as it should have been. So what Anil made me realise is that I hadn't forgiven myself for that, or my dad, and we went through a simple forgiveness exercise which took 15-20 minutes maximum, and the emotion and the energy that had come out of me was tremendous. It was just a massive breakthrough for me. It was just a huge release, and I realised the hole that I was in me all this time. I was trying to fill this hole with money, but I realised that I had to do some forgiveness work to really make that feel whole again. And once I'd done that, I just had instant relief. And it was like it's like I had a black and white vision on, and someone had just put like a colour in there instead. And I can't even explain that time. It was just the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me. And one of the conversations he had with me after is he said, Liam, why are you here on this earth? And obviously I was running a fitness studio at the time, but when that happened, I felt like, this is not what I want to do. And what Anil said to me was, he goes, I see a warrior for people's greatness inside of you, which brought something out of me which was amazing, and it really set me on a new path of life. And ever since that conversation, I ended up selling my fitness studio, and then I started coaching people myself. It's taken me a little while to really find out what I want to coach, but I'm now completely in line with what I want to do, and that is basically help entrepreneurs the way that Anil helped me, and to make them realise that money is not gonna give you all the fulfillment that you want. Yes, it will bring you a certain amount of happiness to a certain level, but it's not going to fulfill you. And I help entrepreneurs, male entrepreneurs, work on themselves physically, emotionally, mentally, in their relationships, so they've got a great foundation to go and build a business. Plus, they are fulfilled already before their business is a success, because they don't want to end up like me. They don't want to end up like building a tremendous business and not feeling fulfilled. So that is basically what I help entrepreneurs with. And one of the biggest blocks in business I see is something emotional that they're not dealing with. You know, it could be a breakup, could be a parent dying, like it happened to me. It could be something that happened at school, could be bullying, something that has affected them for a long time, but they've pushed it down and forgotten about it. And what I do is I help bring that out of people and deal with it face to face, so they can start having the breakthroughs in their relationships. They're going to be connecting with people a lot better. Plus, if they can connect them with people a lot better, naturally their business is gonna increase. So that is what I do in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's a hugely inspiring story. Like, you touched on loads of really, really important points there, and I think the first one that kind of set you off is that you used negative events as fuel for success. You didn't do what a lot of people do and just get stuck in that mindset. That was your fuel to go forwards.
What I'll say about, like, I do believe in using pain to drive you, but I think you have to be careful with it at the same time, because although yes, I built a tremendous business, like, because I was in so much pain, because I was like, in my mind I was like, I need to make my dad proud. So literally that became the only important thing to me, if that makes sense. So, like, I didn't see my family, didn't see my friends. I'd hardly saw my girlfriend at the time, didn't give her the attention and the affection that she needed in the relationship, which lowered her confidence. So I think that using pain is a good driver, but you have to be very careful that it doesn't become your sole purpose, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because, like, a few things that you've said to me in the past is, like, you're kind of constantly driving towards that point of success, but it's always moving on, so you never really appreciate where you are.
Yeah, exactly, because, like, otherwise you're always looking, like, you never enjoy your successes, right? So you're just like, like, for me, like, I got to 5k a month and that's not good enough. Then it was 10k, no, that's still not good enough. 15, 20, and it would have never ever stopped if I hadn't had that chat with Anil. It would just have been relentless, because I was trying to like make my dad proud, where that was never going to fulfill that, really, not in my mind anyway. Okay, but what Anil made me realize is that all my dad wants is for me to be happy. That's all he wants. He doesn't need me to go and build tremendous businesses and all this stuff. He just wants me to be happy, and whatever I do, if that makes me happy, then he's cool with that. So that took a huge weight off my shoulders. So yeah.
What's also really inspiring is kind of how you've gone for massive leaps. Like, you've kind of, for example, investing in Tony Robbins, you kind of you took that leap, and then I know investing in Simon as well is that leap of faith and getting past that sticking point with kind of a very bold, like, aggressive move. It's just, you have to get past that point.
It's for me, like, the way I coach all of my guys with stuff is, like, you've got to make it a must. If you're, like, for example, like, when I invested in Tony, the down payment was literally all the money I had, right? And then I had to make $3,500 a month. Like, I didn't have a choice, right? I had to make that money. So it made me grow rapidly. And I still do it to this day. I've done it recently. I booked, I'm going to Warrior Week. I don't know if you guys know what Warrior Week is, but it's in the States, and basically it's working with entrepreneurial guys who are in relationships, making sure that they've got their body, their being, and their business all in line, and their relationships all in line together, which is exactly my philosophy. And I just wanted to be around more guys like that. So I came across this. Was Saturday just gone? I come across this Warrior Week, and I'm like, that is what I need to do. That's the next step for me. And the investment was $10,000. And I'll be honest with you, because of tax bills and Christmas and New Year, I didn't have the money. Right? I didn't have the money. So I applied anyway on the Saturday, and I got a text on the Saturday evening going, you have your interview at 10 p.m. on Sunday, which was the next day, right? So in my mind, I'm like, most people would be like, oh, I haven't got the money, I'm going to have to text back saying I can't make it, I haven't got the money, $10. But I was like, I'm going, right? I don't care what I need to do, but I'm going. So I got on Facebook, got on my phone, and I started ringing people and saying, like, getting people booked in for chats the next day, and I managed to get half the money together in the next day before the call. So I got on the call with half the money, and I said to the guy who was doing my interview, he was like, look, we take only a paid in full, but like, you've come on here, you've told me that you've hustled really hard today and you've got half the money together, like, honestly, hats off to you. We're gonna do half now, half in 2 weeks for you, right? So I got myself there, right? And I've continued to do this right through my life, and this is why I've had the massive leaps, in and I've grown, like, in my business, in myself, emotionally, in my relationships, because I'm just fearless with it now. I believe in myself so much that I could just make anything work, anything happen. And with that kind of belief, and this has been working on myself for years, listening, when I can remember when I opened up my first business, I used to listen to Les Brown every single day, like on the way to work, on the way back from work. So I was at least getting an hour, 2 hours of Les Brown in my ears, just positive, positive stuff going into my ears every day. And I just got that bulletproof mindset, just fearless. I'm just like, just can make anything happen. And it was the same for Simon. 8K investment into Simon, $65,000 to Tony, $10,000 for Warrior Week. It's just, commit now, make the money back. Yeah, that's how I've always done it.
Yeah. Firstly, like, you touched on another really important point. Like, you've got to invest in yourself to grow, whether that's time or money. But the other thing is that you started talking about beliefs and kind of that your positive beliefs are taken to that place. But what's some big mistakes around beliefs that you see people making?
With regards to beliefs and what I call disempowering stories, is that this is the biggest block that most people have with their body, with their mind, in their relationships, and in their businesses. It's the stories that we've got that are untrue that stop us from moving forward. And one thing that I've done relentlessly is overturn these stories because they're disempowering. And I have like a 4-step process that I take my clients through, that I learnt from a book called by Byron Katie. Can you remember what the book's called?
No, I can't remember what it's called. But it's The Work, isn't it? She calls it
The Work. Yes, The Work by Byron Katie, and I've used that relentlessly in my life. And every time I have something pop up in my head, I'm like, I sit down and I write it out and I overturn it. And I've consistently done this. And most of our beliefs and stories come from our parents. Like I wrote a post yesterday about the beliefs about money. If you grew up with parents who didn't have much money and they spoke about money and scarcity, like, oh, we can't afford that. How much? I can't believe you paid that much. And what other one's going to think of?
There's loads.
That's too expensive. There's loads. Yeah, there's loads. That's absolutely loads. So, because obviously as children we hear this, we then take them on as our own beliefs. So, like, one of the things I do with my clients is overcome these blocks with money and get them in a state of abundance with money, and make them see it's just an energy that you can control. So many people are controlled by money. It's ridiculous. It really does control people, and if I can, what I do is help my clients turn that around so they feel in control of money and they can make it when they want to. you know. And if they aren't making money, then it's because they're choosing not to make money right now and they're taking a break, right? So it's getting in a state of abundance, especially with making money, is a big one with beliefs. But other beliefs, like, you know, feeling like you're not good enough, or perfection is another big one, you know, that stops people from doing stuff. Like, you know, like my clients, if they want to put out videos or they want to put out new programs or stuff like that, they're scared because, like, they look at other people in the industry and they're like, oh, I'm not as good as that. So
yeah, it's leaving yourself vulnerable and open, isn't it? It's such a scary thing initially to do, but personally I found it so rewarding to do it. It's like kind of, I don't know whether anyone saw that post I wrote. That was a letter directed at myself, but it was one big emotional release, and I felt amazing after that. And I expected to feel like that people were judging me because of it, but I had so much positive feedback, and that people were also in that situation too.
When you judge people, when you worry about other people and what they think, it's because you're judging them, right? You're judging them that they're going to think that way. So what you're saying is that you don't want people to judge you, okay? But the best thing to do is to stop judging them first. So just get the content out, right?
Yeah.
And help. It's just that, you know, in my mind is like, you can wake up, you can do stuff in two ways. You can do it out of fear, you can do it out of love. So, you know, if you've got a video that could help a lot of people, but you're scared about the 2 or 3 people that might say something about it, you know, you're in a fear mode. But if you just in the mode of love, like, you're just gonna put it out anyway and just give it to the people that need it, if that makes sense. So
absolutely. And this isn't like, and that isn't just that people have businesses as well. Just anyone who's got a normal job. It's just like putting yourself out there is such a cathartic experience.
Yeah, you might be a guy in like a normal job, and you know you're passionate about something. You know, just start talking about it. You know, start like doing little videos or doing little posts about it, and you know, what you'll find is that people will kind of relate to it, or there'll be other people that you didn't know kind of are into the same things as you or what have you. And yeah, like when people start things like doing stuff like that, like, it's amazing how like businesses evolve from doing stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. You also speak quite a lot about hustling, and you've mentioned, like, for example, hustling to get the money for the weekend. The Warrior?
Yeah, Warrior Week. Yeah,
Warrior Week. Yeah. You've obviously hustled for the money to do that, but I know that you don't believe in hustling 24/7.
No. So my philosophy used to be like, work hard, sacrifice, like hustle, like, you know, do whatever needs to be done. Right, that was my mentality before. But now what I believe in is like, yeah, you know, you need that part of you when you need it to happen. Like, I needed the hustle part of me to come out on Sunday, right? I needed that, and I've got that in my locker if I need it. But you know, you shouldn't be like that all the time, like 24/7, 365. Like, in my mind, if you're like hustling like all the time, that means you're trying to like fill something up. You know, like I was, like, obviously I lost my dad and I was trying to fill that hole with money, so that's why I was hustling all the time. That's how I see it. So my belief is now, like, you know, you should be making sure that you look after yourself, you know, physically and mentally, you look after your relationships, you know, with your significant other and your family, making sure that they're in a great state, and then you go and hustle in your business. You do that next, because otherwise, like, if you just concentrate on hustling, like, all the rest of it will collapse around you, and you'll have your significant other like saying like, why are you not spending time with me, and your family will miss you, and you know, it's not worth it. So I don't believe in doing it all the time. So, you know, like, you look at all the gurus, like you know, Gary Vaynerchuk and Grant Cardone, and you know, other people, these top guys, you know, and they are spreading that message that, you know, you have to be on it all the time, when that's not true. It's not true. You don't have to hustle all the time. Like, building a business is not a sprint, right? It's a marathon, right? So you need to make sure that you're taking it one step at a time and you're building blocks. You know, another way I could describe it is like playing baseball, right? If you're hustling all the time, it's like trying to hit home runs every time. But what's going to happen is you're going to hit every 1 in 5 or 2 in 10 maybe, right? But, you know, when you connect, yeah, it's great. But otherwise, you're missing, you're just swinging and you're going to just burn yourself out. But you know, doing it the other way where making sure that all the other things are in place is just like hitting singles, just like boom. You know, you're just doing a couple of things every day to move you forward, and it's just singles, bang, bang, bang every day. And then what? You know, yes, it might take you slightly longer than the hustler, but the hustler's going to be burnt out, ill, in bed, bedbound, and can't even run his business. But you're going to be in full health, have amazing relationships, and then have an incredible business. Right, so I believe in just taking your time, step by step, making sure you're looking after yourself and the people that you love. Then you can go and hustle, but let it come out. Let it come out every now and then.
No, absolutely. It's a tool to be harnessed on certain occasions, isn't it?
Absolutely, and that's what I've had. This is what I've learned to do. Don't get me wrong. I still have my challenges. I'm not going to say that I'm perfect. I still have times when, you know, like I find myself like looking at my phone when I'm with my little Harry. You know, and I have to be like catch myself like, no, Liam, come on, disconnect. You need to spend some time with your family. So yeah, absolutely. So yeah, work in progress, of course.
Good stuff. As we all are the whole time.
Exactly.
Growth and contribution. So what I want to do now is kind of roll into some quick fire questions. They're going to be like fairly quick from my end, but take as long as you need to answer them. So first of all, if you could tell the world one message, what would it be?
Sorry, just say that again for me.
If you could tell the world one message, what would it be? I know it's a big question.
Oh, that is a big question. If I could tell the world one, make sure that you look after yourself physically with exercise and nutrition, and make sure you're in prime condition, because you won't be able to experience life to a good level or an amazing level if your physical body is out of shape. That's Absolutely. What I'd say. Thanks for
plugging the main message of the Alpha movement for me.
No problem.
What does it mean to you to be Alpha?
To be not just strong in business, but to be a strong man in your relationships. You know, to be open, be honest, be vulnerable. To show the kind of more emotional side, the more, you know, you could say the word more feminine side of you. But I think a guy that can show emotions and be real, be raw, tell the truth is a man in his power.
Good stuff. What are the most important things you do every day for your health?
Number one, workout. I do CrossFit 3 times a week, and then I go running a couple of times. I drink a green smoothie every morning. Meditation. And gratitude, they're the must for me every day.
Good stuff. What do your friends or audience consider you world class
at? Helping people with emotional blocks. So, like, I have a bit of a talent. Like, when people talk to me, I can hear their kind of brain ticking, right? And I can hear the language going on in their head, and I can hear the limiting stories and the disempowering beliefs, like we talked about earlier. And when people talk to me, I can hear them. And I can pull those out of people and go, you know, you need to be aware of this. And then I can help people overturn them and then turn that into a more empowering story, empowering belief, which could change your life, basically.
Yeah, and I'd confirm that. You've done it on many an occasion with me. And the last one, what is the most important book that you've ever read, or books?
If I had to pick a book, it would be You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, and it basically says in the book that everything that's going on in your life can be dealt with self-love. And reading that book changed my life, and it helped me through a really tricky stage in my life, and I can't express enough how amazing that book is. So You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay.
Great. Last of all, is there anything you'd like to plug? Go ahead.
So if there's any guys out there who may be running businesses, or you don't have to run, you might be just working for someone, but emotionally you're a bit all over the place, a bit up and down, unhappy, unfulfilled, no joy in your life, not having any fun, then head on over to liambritton.com and check out my free course, Connection 21's 21-day program, to help give you the basics to a more fulfilled, joyous, happy life.
Sweet. I hope everyone does so, because it's really, really good. So thank you so much, Liam. Thank you for being such a good guest.
No problem.
And I'll see you soon. Cheers.
Cheers, dude.
Thank you again for listening to the Alpha Movement podcast. As ever, thank you to Oak for the kind usage of his music on the show. Check him out on iTunes. If you want to learn more about the Alpha Movement, head to facebook.com/alphamovementofficial.